In the next 27 minutes, you're going to see exactly how executives generate six-figure opportunities on LinkedIn. If you're a senior leader watching less qualified people land board seats and speaking gigs while you sit on the sidelines, this one's for you. You're about to discover how executives in your exact position have landed six-figure board seats, $20,000 speaking gigs, and built fractional practices generating over $200,000 annually. Here's how. Picture this. You've just turned down a $200,000 board seat, not because you're not qualified. You've built a product used by 50 million people. You've led 3 companies through successful exits. You have the exact expertise boards are desperately searching for. You turned it down because you never heard about it. The position went to someone else, someone with half of your experience, someone who showed up consistently on LinkedIn. Here's what kills me about this. You're brilliant. You should be sitting on multiple boards, commanding $25,000 per month for consulting, getting flown to conferences as a keynote speaker. Instead, you're invisible, and you're not alone. Here's what you're getting wrong about LinkedIn. You think you don't have time for social media, but what if you don't have time not to be there? What if the 2 to 3 hours per week you could spend building your LinkedIn presence would generate more high-quality opportunities than the 20 hours per month you're spending networking, taking coffee meetings, and doing that outbound outreach? You probably think LinkedIn is for job seekers and people spamming your inbox, right? And yeah, there's plenty of that. But here's what's actually happening on LinkedIn right now. Board recruiters are searching for CTOs with AI experience. Venture capitalists are looking for advisors who've scaled infrastructure. Companies are hiring fractional executives that they discovered through a single LinkedIn post. The executives getting these opportunities were not necessarily the most qualified. They're the most visible. So here's what you're going to learn in the next 27 minutes. First, you're going to see exactly what staying invisible is costing you. The real numbers, the real opportunities that you're missing right now. Then you'll discover why the "I don't have time" excuse is actually backward, and how a simple content system takes less time than your current networking approach while generating 5 to 10x the results. After that, you're getting the exact framework to turn your expertise into LinkedIn content without sounding salesy, without spending hours per day, and without pretending to be someone that you're not. And finally, you'll see what realistic results look like in your first 90 days, so you know exactly what to expect. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear roadmap to stop being invisible and start generating the kinds of opportunities that should have been coming your way all along. So let's dive in. Let's finish that story because it perfectly illustrates what you're dealing with. The invisibility tax. So this executive, David, reached out 6 months after he turned down that board seat. He was super frustrated. He'd been watching people with less experience than him land advisory roles, speaking gigs, board positions. When we audited his LinkedIn profile, here's what we found. His last post was from 14 months ago. It was a company announcement, so something his PR team had written. Before that, nothing for 8 months. His profile looked absolutely awful. Meanwhile, the person who got that board seat, 8,000 followers, posted 2 to 3 times per week, wrote about cloud infrastructure, scaling challenges, technical debt, all things David knew more about. But here's the key. When the board team searched CTO cloud infrastructure on LinkedIn, whose name came up? Not David's, the person who was visible, the person who showed up. Now, David's not unique, and you probably have this exact same problem. You've spent 15, 20, maybe 25 years building expertise worth millions. You've made mistakes that cost companies more than $10 million, and you've learned lessons that could save others from making those same mistakes. You've built products, scaled teams, navigated acquisitions. All of that knowledge is sitting in your head, generating a 0% return. And every single day you stay invisible, 3 things are happening. 1, board seats that should be yours are going to people who are less qualified but more visible. 2, speaking opportunities at conferences where you could be sharing your expertise and getting paid $10,000 to $25,000 per talk are passing you by. And 3, companies that need exactly what you offer are hiring consultants and fractional executives that they found through LinkedIn, not through referrals, through content. This is your invisibility tax, and it's costing you $100,000, maybe $250,000 per year in missed opportunities. The question is, how long are you willing to pay for it? You need to see a specific example about how this plays out. So 2 CTOs, both had nearly identical backgrounds. Both spent more than 20 years in tech. Both led engineering teams through successful Series B fundraisers. Both had expertise in AI infrastructure. So CTO number 1, Sarah, she had 47 followers on LinkedIn. Her profile looked like a resume. She posted maybe twice per year. CTO number 2, Mike, had 12,000 followers, posted 3 times per week about AI infrastructure, hiring technical teams, and lessons from scaling. Here's what happened over 6 months. Sarah sent 47 cold emails trying to land fractional CTO work. She got 3 responses, closed 0 deals. She spent roughly 40 hours on outreach with absolutely nothing to show for it. Mike received 23 inbound inquiries. He didn't send a single cold email. He closed 4 fractional CTO clients at an average of $15,000 per month. He did 3 paid speaking gigs, and he got approached by 2 board seats. Same qualifications, same expertise, wildly different results. The only difference? Visibility. Now, here's what's fascinating. When you hear this, your first thought is probably, but I don't have time for social media. And you're busy. You're running a company or advising multiple startups, or you're deep in execution mode. But here's what you're missing. LinkedIn isn't social media the way Instagram or Twitter is social media. LinkedIn is a search engine for executive talent. When a board needs a CTO with experience in AI infrastructure, they're not scrolling through LinkedIn looking at puppy photos. They're searching specific keywords. They're looking at who's writing about the topics they care about. They're evaluating who has the expertise and the visibility. If you're not showing up in those searches, you don't exist. And here's the brutal truth. You can be the most qualified person in the world, but if nobody can find you when they're looking, your expertise is worthless in the marketplace. Think about it this way. You could have knowledge in your head right now that could save a company $10 million. You have insights that could help a startup avoid catastrophic technical debt. You have frameworks for hiring that could transform how a team operates. But that knowledge is trapped. It's not generating any return. It's not creating opportunities. It's not building your legacy. LinkedIn is how you unlock that value. It's how you turn your expertise into equity. Equity in your personal brand, equity in your reputation, equity that converts into 6-figure opportunities. Your invisibility tax isn't just about money, it's about impact. It's about legacy. It's about ensuring that the expertise you've spent decades building actually matters beyond the companies you work for directly. Okay, so let's tackle your time objection head on, because this is the big one. I don't have time to post on LinkedIn. Here's the truth. You're thinking about time wrong. Right now, how are you generating opportunities? Be honest. You're going to conferences and you're working in the room for hours. You're taking coffee meetings with people who might know someone. You're sending emails to your network asking if they've heard of any opportunities. You're on calls with recruiters who may or may not have something relevant. Add it all up. How much time are you spending per month on networking and opportunity generation? For most executives, it's about 15 to 25 hours per month, minimum. Now let's talk about LinkedIn. A solid LinkedIn content system takes 2 to 3 hours per week. That's 8 to 12 hours per month. But here's the difference. When you post on LinkedIn, you're networking with hundreds of thousands of people simultaneously. You're positioning yourself as an expert to everyone in your network and their networks, all at the same time. One post about your framework for evaluating technical debt might reach 5,000 people. Maybe 50 of those people are hiring managers, board members, or venture capitalists who need exactly what you offer. You just networked with 50 decision makers in the time it would have taken you to drive to one coffee meeting. But here's what really makes the math work. Compounding. When you take a coffee meeting, that's it. One conversation. It either leads somewhere or it doesn't. The time you invested is gone. When you post on LinkedIn, that content works for you 24/7. Someone discovers it 6 months later and reaches out. A recruiter finds it in a search and adds you to their shortlist. A conference organizer sees it and invites you to speak. Your posts from 18 months ago can still be generating opportunities today. That coffee meeting that you took 18 months ago, yeah, nobody remembers it. This is your time paradox. You're saying that you don't have time for LinkedIn while spending more time on less effective networking methods. Here's an example. A VP of engineering, Tom, was spending about 20 hours per month networking. Lots of coffee meetings, lots of calls, lots of, let me introduce you to someone who might know someone. In 6 months of doing this, he landed one fractional advisor role at $5,000 per month. He switched to a LinkedIn system. 3 posts per week, takes him about 10 hours per month total, including writing and engaging with comments. In his first 3 months, he got approached about 2 board seats, landed a $20,000 speaking gig, and he signed three fractional clients at an average of $12,000 per month. Same amount of time. Actually, less time. 10 times better results. So when you say that you don't have time for LinkedIn, what you're really saying is, I'd rather spend 20 hours a month on ineffective networking than 10 hours a month on a system that actually works. The question isn't whether you have time. It's whether you're willing to invest your time in something that actually generates a return. Here's something that you probably don't understand about LinkedIn. It's not just a platform. It's an authority engine. When someone searches for CTO AI infrastructure or VP engineering scaling teams or CEO fintech, LinkedIn's algorithm is looking for signals. Who's writing about these topics? Who's getting engagement? Who's being recognized as an expert by their peers? This is SEO for your personal brand. And just like Google, LinkedIn rewards consistency and relevance. Here's how it works. Every time you post about a specific topic, let's say technical debt, LinkedIn's algorithm notes that. When someone in your network engages with that post, it expands your reach. When someone shares it or comments, LinkedIn pushes it to their network. Over time, if you consistently write about technical debt, hiring engineering teams, scaling infrastructure, whatever your core expertise is, LinkedIn starts to recognize you as an authority in that domain. So when someone searches for these topics or when LinkedIn recommends content to people interested in those topics, your name comes up. This is how you become the go-to expert, not by being the most qualified, by being the most visible in your specific domain. Here's a concrete example for you. A VP of infrastructure at a major tech company. So when we started working together, he had about 300 followers. Good profile, but no content. We built him a content system focused on one thing, his specific expertise in scaling infrastructure for AI workloads. Every post he wrote was about some aspect of this, the challenges of scaling training clusters, the trade-offs between cloud and on-prem for AI infrastructure, lessons from incidents and outages, technical decisions he'd made that saved millions. 6 months later, he had 8,500 followers. More importantly, he became the voice for AI infrastructure on LinkedIn. Here's what happened next. He started getting 3 to 5 inbound inquiries every single month from companies building AI products who needed infrastructure expertise. Conference organizers invited him to speak. He got approached by 2 paid board seats. All of this happened because LinkedIn's algorithm recognized him as an authority. When people searched for AI infrastructure content, his name came up. When LinkedIn recommended content to people interested in AI, his posts appeared. He became the go-to expert, not because he suddenly got smarter or more experienced. He was already an expert. He just became visible. This is your authority engine, and it works for any domain where you have deep expertise. The key is specificity and consistency. You can't be an expert in leadership or technology. Those are too broad, right? But you can be an expert in scaling engineering teams from 10 to 100 plus, or AI infrastructure for enterprise, or technical due diligence for acquisitions. Pick your lane, own it, show up consistently. LinkedIn will do the rest. It will amplify your presence. It will position you as the go-to voice. It will send opportunities your way. But you have to show up. You have to be visible. You have to feed the authority engine. Because here's the reality. Your expertise only matters if the right people can find it when they need it. And LinkedIn is how they find you. Okay, so at this point, you're probably thinking, okay, I get it. I need to be visible. I need to post content, but what the hell do I post? I'm not a content creator. I'm an executive, right? This is where you get stuck. You think every post needs to be some creative masterpiece. You stare at a blank screen trying to come up with something super profound, and that's why you quit after 3 posts. Here's what you need to understand. You don't need to be creative. You need a system. You already have more content ideas in your head than you could post in 2 years. You just don't know how to access them. Here's how. Spend 30 minutes with a document and answer these questions. What's the biggest mistake you see companies making in your domain? What's one decision you made that saved your company millions? What's one decision you made that cost millions? And what did you learn? What do people consistently misunderstand about your area of expertise? What framework or mental model do you use that most people don't know about? What's changing in your industry that most executives are ignoring? Just answer these questions with specific stories and examples from your career. Don't filter, okay? Don't make it pretty, just brain dump. Congratulations, you just generated 20 to 30 content ideas. You probably think that you need to write long-form articles or create slide decks. You don't. Here are 3 content frameworks that work every single time. Framework 1 is the lesson post. The hook is a specific moment or decision. So what happened? A brief story, what you learned, the insight, and why it matters, the application for others. Framework 2 is the contrarian take. So a common belief, what most people think, why they're wrong, your contrarian view, and what to do instead. So your framework would be proof, a brief example. Framework 3 is the framework post. So the problem, what people struggle with. Your framework is 3 to 5 steps or principles. An example, how you or someone else applied it, and the result, what it enabled. That's it. Pick one of these frameworks. Plug in one of your experience mind ideas and write 200 to 300 words. You just created a LinkedIn post. Here's your system. Set aside 2 hours on Sunday. Mine your experience for ideas. Write 3 to 5 posts using these frameworks. Schedule them throughout the week. You just handled your LinkedIn content for the entire week in one sitting. Here's a real example of how this works. A CTO came to me and he was super stuck. He kept trying to write posts and he was giving up every single time. Nothing sounded right. He felt like he was just forcing it. We did the experience mining exercise. So in 30 minutes, he had 43 specific stories and insights from his career. And then we took the time that we almost launched a product with a critical security flaw and how we caught it. We plugged it into the lesson post framework. So the hook. We were 48 hours from launch when our junior engineer found a security flaw that could have cost us everything. Here's what happened. A brief story of what the flaw was and how it was discovered, and then what he learned, why their code review process needed to change, and why it matters, how other CTOs can improve their security review process. The total time was only about 20 minutes. The post got 47,000 impressions. 12 people reached out to ask about his process. One of those people became a $1,000 per month fractional client. One post, one story that he already knew, one framework. This is what a great system looks like. You're not creating content from scratch. You're extracting value from your existing expertise and structuring it in a way that resonates with your audience. You've already done the hard work of becoming an expert. The content system just helps you share it. Okay, the last thing that you need to understand. What should you actually expect in your first 90 days? Because here's what can't happen. You start posting, you don't see results immediately, and you quit after 2 weeks. Most executives quit too early because they have unrealistic expectations. So here's what realistic results look like for you. Your first month is about building the foundation. You're posting 2 to 3 times per week. You're getting comfortable with the frameworks. You're figuring out your voice. Realistic results in month 1, your posts might get anywhere between 50 to 500 views. You'll get a handful of likes and maybe a few comments. You probably won't get any direct opportunities just yet. But you're building the algorithm recognition, and this is normal. Don't quit. You're planting seeds here. Month 2 is when things start to shift. LinkedIn's algorithm is starting to recognize you. Your network is seeing you show up consistently. Your posts are getting more reach. So realistic results in month 2, okay? Your post should be getting between 500 to 2,000 views, more engagements, likes, comments, shares, people starting to DM you with questions, right? Maybe 1 to 2 initial inquiries about opportunities, and you're growing your following count. So expect 100 to 300 new followers. You're building momentum. Keep going. Month 3 is when your system really starts to pay off. You've been consistent for 12 weeks. LinkedIn recognizes you as an authority. Your network knows you're active. Decision makers are starting to discover you. Realistic results in month 3. Post regularly hitting 2,000, 5,000 views. Strong engagement from your target audience. 3 to 5 inbound inquiries about opportunities. First real opportunities starting to close. So speaking, consulting, advisory, and your follower growth is just accelerating. This is where your patience really pays off. Here are 4 real examples of techs who followed this exact same system. Executive 1 is a former CTO. He had AI and ML expertise. So month 1, 200 average views per post. Month 2, 800 average views with 2 inquiries. Month 3, 3,500 average views. And he landed his first $20,000 speaking gig and 2 advisory roles in discussion. Executive 2 is a VP of engineering. So his expertise is scaling teams. Month 1, he was getting 150 average views per post. Month 2, all the way up to 600 average views per post. And his engagement was really growing. Month 3, he was at 2,200 average views, and he signed his first fractional client at $12,000 per month. Executive 3 was a CEO of a B2B SaaS company, and his expertise was in exits. So when he first started posting, he had about 400 average views. Month 2, it went all the way up to 1,500 average views, and he was getting multiple DMs from VCs. Month 3, he was approached by a board seat and he became advisor to 2 portfolio companies. Okay, the last example. Executive 4, he was a CTO with expertise in cloud infrastructure. Month 1, he was only getting about 100 average views. Month 2, 500 average views, and he had his first speaking inquiry already in month 2. Month 3, 1,500 average views, and he landed 2 paid speaking gigs. He also started building a consulting pipeline. Do you notice the pattern? Everyone starts slow. Everyone builds momentum. Everyone who sticks with it for 90 days starts seeing real opportunities. The executives who fail are the ones who quit after 3 weeks because they posted 5 times and they didn't get a board seat. This is a 90-day game minimum. But the payoff is worth it for you, because once you have momentum, once LinkedIn's algorithm recognizes you, once your network knows you're the go-to expert in your domain, the opportunities don't stop. You're not just generating 1 board seat or 1 speaking gig. You're building a personal brand engine that generates opportunities continuously. That's the difference between a one-time win and a compounding asset. All right. Let's recap what you've learned in the last 27 minutes. First, you saw the invisibility tax, right? How staying off LinkedIn is costing you $100,000, $250,000 or more per year, and missed board seats, speaking opportunities, and consulting work. Second, you discovered the time paradox. You don't have time not to be on LinkedIn. A simple content system takes less time than your current networking approach and generates 5 to 10x better results. Third, you learned how the authority engine works, how LinkedIn's algorithm operates, and how you can use it to become that recognized expert in your domain. Fourth, you got the exact content system. experience mining to generate ideas, proven frameworks to structure your posts, and a batching process to make it really sustainable. And finally, you saw realistic expectations for your first 90 days, so you know what good looks like and you don't quit too early. Here's what you need to understand. You've spent 15, 20, maybe 25 years building expertise worth millions. You have knowledge in your head right now that could transform companies, save organizations from catastrophic events, save organizations from catastrophic mistakes, and help the next generation of leaders avoid the pitfalls you've already navigated. But if your expertise stays invisible, it might as well not exist. LinkedIn isn't about becoming an influencer, or a content creator for that matter. It's about ensuring that your expertise actually generates the opportunities, the impact, and the income that you've earned. The executives who are landing board seats, commanding $20,000 or more for speaking gigs, and building $200,000 plus fractional practices are not smarter than you. They're not more qualified than you. They're just more visible. And visibility is your choice. You can choose to keep doing what you're doing, networking the old way, hoping opportunities find you through your existing network, staying invisible while less qualified people take the opportunities you deserve. Or you can choose to build a system to show up consistently, to let LinkedIn's algorithm work for you, to become the recognized authority in your domain. Your investment is only about 2 to 3 hours per week. Your return is 6 figures in opportunities that come to you instead of you chasing them. If you found this valuable, do this. Subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be putting out a new video every single week on how you can build authority, generate opportunities, and monetize your expertise. And if you want help implementing this system, if you want the frameworks, the templates, and the support to actually make this happen, check out the link in the description. I work with a small group of executives every quarter to build their LinkedIn presence and generate real opportunities. But whether you work with me or not, here's what you need to do. Stop being invisible. Your expertise deserves better. You deserve better. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.